Alright guys, today we're going to stick this into this. So, Toyota 86 BRZ Scion FRS Seat going into an R53 Mini. Let's see how easy or difficult it is. We'll run you through it as we go. First up, we're going to disconnect the battery. So, it's in the boot, given it's an R53. Alright, for removing these seats, I'm going to use a small rattle gun and a T40 torque socket and also a flat blade screwdriver. Now, let's get a good look at the before. That's the standard full leather seats. These ones are heated, so whilst we aren't going to deal with this video, we might do it in a follow-up, we will retrofit the heating to these 86 seats. So, alright, we better get cracking and we'll get this removed. Alright, so front edge, we've got two T40s we need to take out. Pop them aside because you're going to want to keep them there. Bring your seat forward, lean it forward. You should be able to get in with your rattle gun. Another two T40s at the back. Now, before you pull this seat out, there is electrical connectors underneath. So I like to lean the seat up and back. In this case, I have 3 plugs here. So before we take the seat out, we need to take these connectors out. So in this particular case, we have a yellow connector, a blue connector, and a black connector. We have a second black connector, but I don't know why that's not actually plugged in. So it's a bit perplexing for me. Alright, so unplug that one. Alright, got those there. Alright, now we've got two options. Supposedly, you can use the existing runners off the 86 seats with some slight elongation of the holes. So what we might do is we might offer it up to the car and see where they end up landing and whether it might work. But the other thing that I can see is that the actual base runners on the Mini are very, very similar in mounting to the 86 seats. Let's tilt this down. So we may be able to just use the original runners. So let's throw it in and see how we go. Alright, so from what I can see, these don't quite line up, so you could potentially elongate those holes. However, if you have a look at the back here, we're clashing on the plastic trim, and in the center console here we also would be. So what we might try and do is we might see if we can swap out the rails off the seats and see how we go. Alright, first up, we're going to take our Mini seat out and we're going to take these rails off. So there is 4 bolts each side. So you can see 2 at the front, 2 at the back. Now they're T40s. Now, the tricky one is on the opposing side. Let me just flip it. On the opposing side here, you can see there's 2 bolts there. You can't really see these other 2 very well. There's 2 behind there. So take your seatbelt pre-tensioner off. Now, if you add these into the car, you'll have a problem with the seat binding and you won't be able to actually move it. So, unfortunately, these have to stay. And we'll modify the seat belts in the car to suit the buckles on the 86 BRZ seats. Right, here you can see how far out these bolts are. So you can either mount it with one, or you can elongate the last hole on the bottom of the seat just here, so that it will fit. As you can see, there's 2 holes at the back, so you could potentially elongate that hole a little. So what I ended up doing here was I elongated that last bolt hole just to allow it to then drop a standard bolt through, and at that point we were okay. I believe it ended up being basically a 6mm movement in the gap there, so elongate the hole with a Dremel, 6mm, and then you're all good. So now with this bracket, so that the Mini seats will actually slide, you need to bend that forward, disconnecting the electronics, and there's another bracket that holds the cable just underneath where my finger's pointing, where the cables also sit through. If you've got a seat, you'll see it. That also needs to be bent backwards as well, so that you can have the railing actually pull on so that the seat will slide forwards and backwards. If you don't, it will clash and it just will not work. So that's how you're going to be able to do this with standard Mini rails. This will not work if you have a height adjustable seat. This is only something that I could do in the passenger side. Alright, after much faff, it's in. And quite tight at the back here. but it's in. So standard R53 seat uses 8 bolts total, 4 on each side. The height adjustable 86 seat uses 3 on one side, 4 on the other, and the bolt locations aren't the same. So I modified the 86 rails, cutting the tang off the end that you ordinarily see, and popped out the 2 rivets that hold that end piece on, and the second rivet in, as you can see, gets drilled out, and then I drill a hole 6mm inboard and measured from the back so that it was the 400mm. At that point, it fits the spacing on the R53 floor, and you can drop the bolts in nice and safely.
A few moments later.
Alright, we've got them in, but what a faff that was. Alright, now, to get them to clip into that belt buckle, the seat belts need a small modification. So, as you can see, this is before. That is what the R53 one is. It stops it from going too deep for whatever reason, and it just sits there properly. On the 86 seat runners, you need to just give this a gentle trim, and it'll clip beautifully into it. It doesn't slip, do anything. It's a nice solid latch. So, I got that there to still do, so I'll trim that, and then it should be good to rock and roll, and I'll show you how well it clicks in. Alright, so as you can see, I've given that a light trim. I've still got to tidy that up, but for the purpose, click, it's nice and secure. So I've just tucked it in on the belt, and yeah. So next thing that I've got to do, which I won't do in this video, is basically set up our airbag wiring so it works, and I've got to go through at some point and sort out our electric heated seat as well. So we'll work that out and try and do the conversion on that. So